Hello, my leader is Charles Stewart Parnell. Parnell was an Irish nationalist and statesman who led the fight for Irish Home Rule in the 1880s. Charles was born on June 27, 1846, in County Wicklow, the county right under Dublin, as you can see on the map. His family was Anglo-Irish Protestant landowners, meaning Parnell was born into a privileged family that was far better off than the poor Irish Catholics. Yet still, he grew up in a very anti-British home thanks to his American mother, and this made him very empathetic to the struggles of the Catholics and the need to have land reform. He went on to attend Cambridge University before going into politics. Throughout his short life, he held many significant leadership roles inside and outside Parliament. He was supported by more aggressive party members and the Fenians, who liked Parnell's willingness to confront the government and to truly gain reform. Parnell was elected to Parliament in 1875 for County Meath. Then, in 1879, he was elected president of the Irish National Land League. He was protected to this position by the League's radical founder, Michael Davitt. He then traveled to America to get support and money for land reform for Ireland. He showed great political promise, and in May 1880 he was elected chairman of the Irish Parliamentary Party. As chairman, he was dedicated to building his party into a cohesive unit dedicated to fighting for Home Rule. It was also put him as the head of two of the most powerful movements of Ireland during this time, the Irish Parliamentary Party and the National Land League. He was made the only person who was able to connect what was happening in Parliament to the masses of Irish, making him an invaluable political figure not only in Ireland, but for the British Parliament as well. Parnell saw his best opportunity for land reform to come by Irish tenants to participate in agrarian agitation. He encouraged the boycott by means of influencing landlords. This meant not doing labor if a landlord demanded excessive rents, and to boycott any land that a fellow member was evicted from. While this agitation did end up becoming violent, he was never part of this, and never did he take the position of wanting a violent rebellion. However, it did give him control over the British, thinking that he was able to control all the violence, but it also put him in a very vulnerable position. The response to the violence was the Land Law Act of 1881 and was passed by Prime Minister William Gladstone. And it gave tenants certain protections of getting evicted and a more fair rent. However, it also put Parnell and other activists of the Land League into jail. This made Parnell very popular. As from jail, he urged people to stop the Irish from paying rent when he knew that this would incite more violence, which would only make him more powerful. Seeing the violence erupting in Ireland, Gladstone and Parnell came to an agreement that Parnell would be released from jail and tenants would gain more protections. In exchange, Parnell would discourage any further agitation, especially violent agitation. This agreement came to be known as the Kilham Treaty in March of 1882. As you can see on your screen, the poster on the left is one of the posters calling for the Irish to not pay their rent while Parnell is in jail as a form of agitation and civil disobedience. After his release from jail, Parnell and Gladstone worked together to gain Home Rule for the Irish. He also worked to gain land reform bills while working on a Home Rule bill, making him the leading Irish politician of the 1880s and early 1890s. Unfortunately, the first Irish Home Bill introduced in 1886 failed in the House of Commons and split the Liberal Party, resulting in Gladstone resigning as Prime Minister. This was the start of not only Parnell's political downfall, but also his downfall in popularity. In 1889, William O'Shea, formerly one of Parnell's supporters, filed for divorce from his wife Catherine because of her adultery with Parnell. A picture of Catherine is on the right hand of your screen, and her and Parnell had been engaged in an affair for years, fathering 3 of her children. The scandal made the Irish Parliamentary Party split between those who were willing to overlook Parnell's scandal and those who weren't. Gladstone publicly denounced Parnell, saying he would not work with someone with such low morals. Parnell was unwilling to step away from politics, dividing his party further. The Irish Parliamentary Party would take nearly a decade to unify again, and the hope for Home Rule had been dashed with it to gain traction again, and it wouldn't gain traction again until the 20th century. Parnell died on October 6, 1891, at 45 years old. Parnell was an effective leader that made great strides in gaining protection for poor Irish tenants. He showed tremendous leadership by bringing together two major Irish movements and creating a massive unified movement to gain attention for the cause of Home Rule. As well, he showed leadership by going to America to garner international supports and funds. He used his position and power to encourage civil demonstrations to influence the members of Parliament, even adapting to his own circumstances in jail by continuing to lead the people and encourage disobedience. His biggest failure as a leader comes from him putting his own desires before his party and the unity of the Irish people. Instead of stepping away from politics when he was involved in a scandal, he selfishly stayed and divided it further and divided the thing he had spent his life building. However, he was a political genius who was able to gain some protections for Irish tenants, working tirelessly to do so. I think the quote on your screen from the book really encapsulates the kind of leader he is and how he did fight and with all his might to get home rule for the Irish, even though he was unsuccessful. And these are my sources. Thank you.